All right. Welcome to the OxFit podcast, everyone. Today I am speaking with Debbie Allen. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today, Debbie. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this your first podcast?
Yes.
Yay, I'm so honored. Because you have such a wealth of experience and knowledge. And, so a lot of people know you at OxFit and have met you in the past 9 months that you've been here with us. But maybe some don't because we work a lot of times one-on-one. And so let's start with just Debbie Allen. Like, who is she? Give us a little bit of background.
I grew up in Kansas City, and my parents ran camps for kids. So I grew up with lots of activities all the time. I rode horses my whole life and showed horses until I was 25 or 30 years old. Hunters and jumpers all over the Midwest. And because it was a camp life, I grew up with trampoline and archery and riflery and tennis and horseback riding and swimming and capture the flag and sing around the campfire and all of that. So there was a lot of activity as I was growing up. I would say through my 20s, I put on weight and got heavier than I wanted to be. And so I kind of started exercising more. I swam and ran and all of that. But my focus didn't really get on health and fitness until probably 20 years ago, I would say. I have 2 children. My daughter lives here in Atlanta and runs a nonprofit it's called Beloved Atlanta. It helps women getting out of commercial sexual exploitation. And my son lives in Phoenix with his fiance and my now 5-month-old grandson. And I also have a stepdaughter from a other marriage here in Atlanta too, who has 3 children. So that's kind of my overview of my background.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And she didn't mention that she is also the director of operations at Beloved, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. My daughter took, I did have a part in the beginning of it. My daughter took over a few years and she runs it now and is doing a great job. Yeah. So I'm retired with my focus on my family and my friends and traveling. But also, I like to say health span, not just lifespan. And so that's really, I have my acupuncturist has a saying in their bathroom that says self-care is non-negotiable. And that's really something that I feel very strongly about.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll get into like the health span versus lifespan a little bit more later in the podcast. I'm super excited because, you've inspired me working with you. And I know that people that are going to listen to this, all of our listeners out there are just going to feel so inspired and motivated by, what that means and how you live that out in your life day to day. So with that, tell us a little bit about like your routine because you're really inspiring. You obviously work out with me at OxFit and you started 9 months ago, but also what do you do outside of that too?
Well, so I for years did kettlebell at home.
Yeah.
And I got to a point probably 2 years ago where I was like, okay, I'm never sore. This isn't pushing me. I'm not doing a variety of things. And so I really shifted to how do I change that and make it be a variety of exercises because your body gets very used to what you're doing and it doesn't really help you grow and get better. So right now I do solid core Pilates twice a week. I do hot yoga once a week, and I come to OxFit twice a week. And then I walk every day 2 miles hard, fast. I'm teased in my family that I walk faster than is humanly possible. So that's my routine.
Amazing. Yeah. And then outside of that, you said you obviously prioritize self-care too. So you're getting massages
I
and
do
acupuncture
and chiropractor, rolfing, therapeutic massages, regular massages.
Yeah.
And then I go to a place called Polar Lounge, and it's a cryo tank, a infrared bed, a sauna, and a PIMF bed. And I do that twice a week.
Amazing. So of all the things, you've tried it all, it sounds like.
Yes.
What's your favorite? What's been the most beneficial for recovery?
I really do love OxFit because it's 30 minutes twice a week, but it really pushes me.
Yeah.
And I have really enjoyed the strength training, adding that in. Pilates, the solid core Pilates is the hardest thing that I've ever done, and it doesn't ever get easier, and I don't think it ever will,
Yeah.
but that's good. And then hot yoga, I think yoga is just so good for you in movement and stretch and sweating, so.
Amazing.
Which I did rucking on the way here today, so I have 20 pounds in my backpack walking here, and this is why I'm a sweaty mess.
Well, that's also why your results that you just got from your doctor are amazing, though, which we'll talk about, too, in a minute. But let's go back 9-10 months ago when you signed up for OxFit. What made you walk through the door?
I think I decided I wanted to do strength training like one-on-one. My love language is words of affirmation.
I remember you telling me that.
So I really love it when somebody's like, "You're doing great, good job, way to go." And so that's what I get.
Yeah.
But I know that about myself. So
Yeah.
so I just came in here and talked to y'all, and it just seemed like a perfect fit. It fit into my schedule, and I kind of love that it's 30 minutes. Like, it's like, get in there, get it done, get out. We set goals. We work really hard. So I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I want to keep pushing myself.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Debbie works with me twice a week, as she mentioned, for 30 minutes, and we do one-on-one personal training sessions, but she also comes to group classes when she can, when maybe my schedule's off or she wants to get an extra one in or over the holiday weekend. And she's completely capable of doing a full 60 minutes. So don't listen to her about only needing 30 minutes. She can do longer than that.
And the group classes are really fun. Like, I've thought about I should incorporate more of those in. They're really fun. Aunt does a really good job, and they were fun. They're fun.
That's awesome. So when you did join 9 months ago, some of your goals were, right?
Well, one of them is a pull-up.
Yeah.
I've not gotten there yet.
Not yet.
But we're getting there, I think.
You have 5 on the band.
On the
though.
band. I
So
can do on the band.
We're getting closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it mainly was just getting stronger. It's very interesting if you do, I read a lot and do a lot of research on health and strength, and we as people are going to lose muscle mass and strength as we get older, no matter what we do. But if you start yourself at a very higher level, as you slowly drop down, you're coming down into like what many people would say is a normal range now. But if you start at a low level, and as you get older, you're going down to a lower and lower level. And it's very interesting, like, what do you want to do as you get older? I want to be able to pick my suitcase up and put it in the overhead box in the airplane. I want to be able to pick up my grandchildren. I want to be able to keep up with everybody, get up and down off the floor, all of those things. And if you don't, use it or lose it, if you don't work on those things, they're going to disappear out of your life. And I just, 15 or 20 years ago, was like, that is not going to happen to me. And so I'm going to work very hard that it doesn't.
I love that you say that. And so what are the benefits of doing the strength training at OxFit with me? Have you seen that stuff's easy for you and that you've improved your strength?
Definitely. I just feel stronger. Like, I just feel healthier and stronger. I get lots of words of affirmation from people that I'm strong. But, very often you can just look around the world. I'm 66 years old, and you can just look around the world, and we really are losing the battle on our health and our fitness and our weight, and that's not a given. Like, we don't have to all live that as you get older, it's just the normal that you're not going to be healthy or strong or be able to do things. We are just letting that be our mindset, and that is not how it has to be. And, everybody's different. Like, my way of being is not going to be somebody else's, or my goals is not somebody else's. It doesn't matter, but everybody can work towards health and strength and taking care of yourself and being self-sufficient. And I think that's a good goal for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can deadlift more than your body weight, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. Like, people come in, to OxFit, and our first goal is to just get them to be able to deadlift something close to their body weight, and to do it obviously with good form. You came in and you were close already just because of everything you've done in your life up until now. But now you're deadlifting 20, 30 pounds more than your body weight.
Right.
You're also pulling yourself up, with a band currently. You're doing headstands.
Yeah. That was one of my goals. Was I told Lauren, I said I wanted to do a headstand, which really takes some core strength. And we started out against the wall, and as time went on now, and my goal was to be able to, in yoga class, do a headstand without falling on top of anybody. And I can do a headstand in yoga class now.
I love that.
So.
And your story was you had to first start doing your headstands against the wall because you were nervous.
Yeah.
But now you're confident. You're in the middle of the studio, right?
Yeah.
Doing them with no assistance.
So now we're working on handstands. That's my latest thing.
Yes, I love that.
And push-ups. We're working on push-ups too.
Push-ups too, yeah. I mean, you have 2 to 3 full push-ups.
Right.
Which is
But
not
Lauren
easy.
makes me go all the way down to the floor and back up. I'm really good at half push-ups.
I'm not easy on you.
No, you are not easy
no,
on me.
I don't need to be. But my favorite is when we joke about how you just don't get sore sometimes after our sessions.
No.
And so you challenge me to get you sore.
Yeah.
Talk about, 1 or 2 of the workouts.
I think I just have been working out for a long. I can remember years of getting very, very sore.
Yeah.
But I just think that I've been working out long enough. It's rare that I get sore, which I kind of like being sore a little bit because it's like you pushed it, you are making your muscles stronger. So every once in a while we'll have a workout. Like I think not too long ago we did a bunch of lunges with holding a weight over my head. And the next day I sent Lauren a message. I was like, okay, mission accomplished. I am sore today.
Lunges.
Yes, lunges was it. But yeah, I like a challenge. Lauren likes a challenge too. So telling her that I'm not getting sore, or she's like, okay, I got this.
I love it. I don't back off.
No.
What can I come up with today?
I know,
Maybe make
exactly.
this woman sore.
And every once in a while, like we've done some things where I've felt sore in my arms a little bit and stuff. So
some bench press.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit earlier about how your goal is, to have a quality, health span and quality of life, and how, we're all working against this clock. And if you're not fighting to get stronger every day and to keep improving, the quality of life, then, if you're starting at a low level already, it's not going to be good for you later on in life, right? And so you gifted me the book Outlive for Christmas. And what a book. Like, I learned so much.
It's a great book.
Yeah. What were some of your takeaways?
Peter
Attia, Dr. Peter Attia is a podcast as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because I read and research so many different areas, except it all comes back to the same thing, every single thing you read. Like, you need to eat healthy. You need to eat whole foods, not ultra-processed, organic if possible, but, do the best you can. But you need to eat healthy. You need to eat lots of vegetables and grains and beans and, get enough protein. You need to exercise and work out. You need to get your heart rate up. Like, it's very interesting to me. I read that book, another book, and it doesn't matter if it's, preventing cancer or strength building or muscles or your health or your heart or your brain. It's really all the same thing. Like, we all need to get good sleep, work out, exercise, get your heart rate up, eat healthy food, lower our stress. These are all, they just kind of all overlap in the same thing. And so, like, sometimes I'll pick up a new book and I'll start reading and I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's the same things,
Absolutely. It's simple when you break it
really
down
is.
to that,
It really
right?
is,
There's almost an equation, a formula to it. It's all these little pieces, and if you just can pull them together into the puzzle, then you can get the best results.
The saddest thing to me is that we've developed a mindset in this country that getting older means you're not healthy. Mm-hmm. Like, we believe that we're going to have diseases and that we're going to be sick, and I could get something tomorrow, knock on wood. There's no guarantees, but I can set my body up to be as healthy as possible. And those things, it's not the norm. You don't normally have to be where you can't get up off the floor, you can't pick up something heavy, you can't, all of these things. And our food situation in this country and what we're letting ourselves eat and believe is healthy is doing great damage, and the science is there. This isn't me making it up. The science is there about what this does in our body and how we can eat and do better for our body. But we don't, the average person my age and above is on like 10 prescription medications. And I'm not against medicine. Medicine's great when it's needed, but there's so many things that if we were living a healthier life, we wouldn't have to take these things.
Yeah.
And I think we don't have a medical world that's really expressing that to us and helping and supporting us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're still in the reaction mode a lot of times, right?
Like, I'm going to deal with the symptoms. I'm not going to look at the cause,
Yeah.
And I think if we start looking at the causes, we would all be much, much healthier and happier.
It's kind of crazy because the book touches on like the four horsemen, the four big diseases, right?
Right.
Like, you've got cardiovascular health, disease, and you've got cancer and Alzheimer's, and a lot of these diseases, a lot of people look at as like binary. It's like, oh, you get it or you don't, but really they're on this like spectrum, this continuum, and like
right.
Yes, you can just get it. You
Yes.
can just roll that dice,
Absolutely.
and that's your what your life was planned to be, but you can also work towards not getting those.
One of
right?
my people that I do follow a lot is Dr. Mark Hyman, and he says that genetics, we all have genetics, right? And genetics is like a loaded gun, but how we live our life is whether that gun is pulled or not, whether that trigger is pulled or not. So, how you're living your life affects what's going on in your body, even if you're susceptible to some of these things. I mean, you can have a family that everybody got Alzheimer's or everybody had heart disease or whatever, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to have these things.
Yeah.
Your lifestyle definitely affects these things.
Yeah, and you can work on that, right?
Absolutely.
You can easily work on that. It is simple. It's not easy. I understand that because, social media and the news and everything
Right.
is telling us that these are the healthy foods, but they're not. There's all these hidden ingredients that if you don't read the ingredients list, then you don't know what you're getting fake
I tell
sugars.
people all the time, like, one is shop the outside of the grocery store,
Yes.
not the middle of the grocery
Yes.
store. And two is read every single ingredient
Labels.
package, all your labels.
Yep.
And if you can't pronounce the word, don't eat it.
See, that's so true.
It's so simple.
It's got more than like 3 syllables.
I know. But it's interesting. It is hard in the beginning. It is kind of hard. But once you get in this routine of this is how you're living and you're eating, then you kind of start feeling bad when you don't do it right. I mean, listen, I travel and I can eat as many desserts as the next person, and I love to go out and eat. I don't love how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And I come home and I do a hard stop and get back on what I'm supposed to be doing and eating and living. So I'm not one of these people that's like, I never touch sugar. Like, chocolate chip cookies are my dream.
I love that.
But
we talk about that a lot. I feel like when you come back from your fabulous trips in your camper or visiting your grandson or, that you enjoyed yourself. You were at the wine festival out in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And
I usually have dessert every night when I'm out, and I eat whatever I want to eat. But I also do a hard stop.
Good. That's the hard part.
It is
the hardest part. That's
and
where
it's a
most people
slippery
fall
slope.
off.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, because then you say, "Oh, I want that again."
Yeah.
And that's how sugar works, right?
It's
it's literally a
addictive.
drug. It's addicting,
Yeah.
and so once you have it, you want it more.
I mean, scientifically, sugar lights up the same things in your brain that heroin lights up.
yeah.
So
Amazing.
it's an addiction.
So it is hard for people,
is
like you
hard.
mentioned. But
It is hard.
if you have that self-discipline and you build those habits like you do
Yeah.
in your routine, and you know that they throw you off because if you're continuing to eat chocolate chip cookies,
right. And I do think
you're not going to train as well.
When you get in the routine of being healthy and eating well and exercising and stuff, you can really tell a difference when you're not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you feel as good, which makes it easier.
Yeah.
Like for your body, if you're kind of always eating in a not healthy way, your body's really used to it and
True.
it doesn't feel any different.
Yes.
But if you start eating healthier, like, I mean, I can have meals where I'm like, wow, that made me feel great. That was a really good meal. And then I can go out to dinner and like the next day I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like a food hangover. Like, I feel like crap,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
But I just tell myself, like, tomorrow I'll feel better. Like,
Yeah.
I just have to be good for a day or two and I will feel better. And that is what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you may not realize the effect you're having on your body if you are eating like that. If you're eating
Right.
poorly and you're just so used to it because you've eaten a poor diet all of your life.
Yeah.
But when you go to the doctor and you get your DEXA scan, which is a good lead in here, and you test your VO2 max and you know, get your numbers, that's when you can really find out the damage that you're doing, right? And so that's what we all should be doing. I'm terrible at it, but I know I'm fit. I eat well.
Right.
You know you're fit. You eat well.
Right.
We're overall healthy individuals. But,
Right.
you know, getting that test done like you just did recently is really the tell-all story of like,
Well,
how are you doing? So,
Yeah.
So you went and got your DEXA scan and you tested your VO2 max.
Yes.
And what were the results?
So I, you know, as I said, my words of affirmation, I got an A+. And they were so funny because they were like, everybody likes a grade, right? I'm like, yes. But so the DEXA scan really does your whole body. You lay on a table. It's kind of like, I guess, like getting an MRI or whatever. It has this thing that goes back and forth over you. And it's doing all your muscles, your lean mass, your visceral fat, which the visceral fat is something we all really need to pay attention to and watch out for, because that is, they're finding scientifically that is really the base of a lot of disease, is that this visceral fat. But anyway, and then it does, you know, it breaks it down to like your right arm compared to your left arm and your right leg compared to your left leg, and, you know, all of these different things. And so then you have this, how much lean mass do I have? How much muscle mass do I have? How much body fat do I have? All of that. So that was, I thought, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And it also was really good because it gave me some things like I'll go to Lauren now with these and say, like, okay, these are the things I want us to work on strengthening. And, you know, this side was not as strong as this side and all of that. So that was the DEXA scan, which was great. And then the VO2 max, which was probably the thing I was the most nervous about.
Yes.
And that is running, either walking or running on a treadmill or a bike. And you have like a mask on, and they're doing your carbon dioxide output and your oxygen input, and they push you to the point of you don't think you can go any further. Mm-hmm. So I think my highest heart rate when I got going was 160 maybe, which is like my last minute, they were like, yell, come on, Debbie, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And I everything in me was like, I can't take another step.
Yeah.
Like, I can't breathe. I can't get oxygen in.
Wow.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And it takes it's like 8 or 9 minutes. It's
Okay.
just not even that long. But I told them I wanted to walk and not run because I don't like to run. But they did, the treadmill was on an incline.
Okay.
And they start out slow and build it up. And the whole time they're watching your heart rate and your oxygen intake and your carbon monoxide outtake.
Yeah.
And so they're charting all of that.
Amazing.
And then their point is to go, you get to a point where all of a sudden it just starts dropping back down no matter what you're doing, because your heart, you can't do anymore. So it's that's when they stop. Like, they stop when
you're anymore.
No, you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
And I think mine was 9 minutes. And then when you get the report, it's really cool. First of all, you're put in categories mm-hmm. of, you know, your age group and how you did.
Yeah.
But also they give you, like, my heart rate that I need to try to reach is 154. Like, that is what is really increasing my VO2 max.
Got it.
So, like yesterday, I started doing a thing where in my walk every day, I'm just going to sprint twice in my walk and make sure my heart rate gets to 154.
Get your heart up.
And then the other thing that's really important is they also do how quickly your heart comes back down to normal.
Yeah.
Which they were like, I could improve on that.
Your resting heart rate was really good too.
Yeah, my resting heart
like
rate
50.
is really good. It's like 51, but my recovery after getting up so high took longer than what they wanted. And she was like, the only way you can get better at that is you got to hit that 154 and then walk and take slow breaths and get it. So you're getting your body trained and used to going up and coming back down.
Yeah,
so it was
great,
cool because it was goals.
We can incorporate some more interval training. That's awesome.
Every
That's
time
really
Lauren
good to
makes me
know.
run, I complain.
So we need to do some
Yes,
more.
yes. But anyway, those were the kind of things, like I walked away from that.
Awesome.
It's a place called OxFit, and it was very well run and very clean and really organized. And I was there for probably an hour and a half because I spent about 30 minutes going over everything with
that's
you.
not too bad.
And they also
for all
do
of
your resting metabolism rate.
Right.
So how
I
you're
saw
just
your RMR.
you're just sitting in a chair with the mask on, and what is your metabolism when you're not doing anything, which is the amount your calories need to burn to just survive, not doing anything.
And overall, then, so they gave you a score of A+ and a metabolic age of 48. And you're 66.
Yeah.
So you should be very proud of yourself.
And my VO2 max was like, I really didn't think that would be good because, like I said, I mean, I walk hard and fast, but you probably have incorporated more cardio or that kind of stuff that I normally do. I just don't do a lot of aerobic stuff. Yeah. Which I think is great. But I was really happy that my VO2 max was really good too.
Your VO2 max, I looked at the chart, and it showed that it was literally 2 standard deviations like above the average.
Right.
Which
and
is
that's
amazing.
the VO2. When I've done some research on it, I mean, that's another thing that is going to come down as we age, no matter what. I mean, I'm sure there's marathon runners and ultra whatever that don't come down, but for the normal person that is going to come down, and that is a sign of longevity and health. And so if you are starting out low, you're just going to get lower and lower. So the goal is, how do I start out higher so that as I drop down naturally, I'm still at a healthy higher point.
Yeah, amazing. I know. I was reading about it more, knowing that you were getting the official test on it, and it is interesting how it, it's a marker for like heart disease and cardiovascular disease and health, and it's, I think, the ultimate test for that, and then obviously elite athletes use it too, like you mentioned, marathon runners and such, to just measure, how much oxygen are they getting in while
and I mean, I've been looking at it for like a year, and I really was very nervous about doing it. I was like, this is just not going to go well.
Yeah, well, the test itself sounds a little nerve-wracking.
It's intense. Yeah. It's intense. It's like, it's not intense. It's kind of like I tell you with our exercising, it's not until all of a sudden it is.
Yes.
Like I'm doing pull-ups or whatever, and I'm like, I start out going like, this is easy, and then like the fourth win, and I'm like, can't do another one.
Yeah, like the first 3 rounds are fine, and then the fourth and fifth.
And that test was the same thing. Like I was
didn't
like,
get hard till like minute 7 for you.
Right. And it was the last minute that I was, and that's the point. Yeah. They're taking you to the point of where you just don't think you can go another step. Yeah.
And I do think you, the way you've set up your routine with all of your workouts and coming in and doing strength training and functional fitness with me, and the style workouts that we do without you realizing, like you said, we don't really run. No. We don't run often. You'll go hop on the runner and do a 200 or 400 meter run, but it's only, cumulatively, I'm not making you run more than a mile or two ever really in a workout. But just the style of workouts where we're going intense and then you're resting for 30 to 60
Which is exactly
seconds,
what we need. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that, without realizing, has, I think, led to, the awesome results.
Yeah. I was surprised and very happy.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. I mean, you're so self-disciplined and such a joy to work with and such an inspiration.
We've had fun. We've really had fun.
And I feel like we're just getting started.
I agree. It's funny because this whole report has made me like, okay, where do we up our game? Yeah. Where do we push it more?
Absolutely.
I'm a great one when something's working. I'm like, okay, double down.
Yes, let's go. What's next? You're such a goal-oriented person, and I love that because we are constantly like meeting something, celebrating it, and then going, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Because, and that's the fun in fitness, right?
Yeah.
And in life and everything is just
and
like,
I mean, the thing is it's such a snowball thing. Like, you feel great, and like it feels good to be strong, and it feels good to feel good, and all these things. So
I love that. I know people see you, right? And they're like, wow, I want to be like Debbie when I'm 66, like you're,
Well,
such
it's
an
funny
inspiration.
because
You're walking around with confidence. You're coming to classes and outdoor community workouts, and our average members, but probably around 35.
Yeah, I'm usually the oldest person.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there is, but I'm usually. But it's funny because people, I think, are always, they kind of hate to say how old they are. But I really kind of am proud of it, Like I'm 66 years old, and I'm, lifting more than my body weight, and I'm like, I think that those are things to celebrate and be proud of, and not be like, oh gosh, this is the way it's going to be. I'm getting older and less strong and can't do these things, instead of like, I can do more now than I could 5 years ago.
Absolutely. And there's still things to accomplish, right?
My kids tease me, and they say that we realized a long time ago that Mom was the strongest person in the family.
You're such a good role model to them.
So it's fun, and it feels good.
Yeah. Such an inspiration. Well, I have a question for you. I've been thinking about this. So if you were to reflect, like on your 30 to 40-year-old self, like what were you doing in your fitness journey then, and like what now, right, from all of your experience and the tests that you've done and what you've accomplished, what would you tell yourself in your 30s and 40s?
In my 30s, it was more about, I wanted my weight to be a certain thing. So that was really why I exercised. It wasn't like, this is making me healthier or stronger or long-term goals. It was like, I ate chocolate cake last night, I need to work out today, or I've gained 5 pounds or 10 pounds, I want to get rid of it. I think that's a very short-sighted, kind of sad way to look at things, because all of those things take care of themselves when you're kind of living a healthy life. And, we all have our different things. And, I know, listen, I've gone up and down in my weight 100 times in my life. I've been on 100 diets. Like, I get it. It's not always been easy at all. Yeah. But I think having the goal of my health span being long, not just my lifespan, and feeling good, and feeling strong and feeling capable to be able to do things that I want to do. I use it or lose it. I mean, I just will not accept. I mean, there's certain things I can't do anymore, but I just don't want to accept that my life is getting narrower and narrower. And that was not my attitude when I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think the bigger picture now compared to the narrow picture is a much healthier way to be. So I would have told my 30-year-old self, like, there's a lot of years out there.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
It will be a lot easier if you would get it together now and have those goals. So
keep the big picture in mind.
Yes, keep the big picture in mind.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Right. Don't beat yourself up for 5 pounds.
I don't ever want to sound like it's hard, and like we all have our different battles, and, I don't think there should be judgment in it. I just think that there should be goals and work and do the best you can. But, the diet is an easy one. Like the diet this is something that we all can do and will have major benefits for all of us. Yeah. So that's an easy one. And, if you're not doing any exercise, like go walk around the block every night. Yeah. Like I started a few months ago, every night after dinner, I take a 25-minute walk. And my goal was simply, it's not like a hard walk. It's really just kind of cruising through the park. But my goal was, it's really good for you to move after you've eaten. Yeah. So I just said, okay, every night, I have a book on tape. I, Audible, and I'm just take a 25-minute stroll after dinner every night. So I'm moving a little bit every night after,
Awesome.
instead of just sitting on the sofa,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So just little things like that can make a really big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Establishing those little habits, right?
Yeah.
And layering them on
Yeah.
top of
So if
each
you're not
other.
doing any exercise at all, go for a walk today. You know,
Yeah.
go find a set of stairs and walk up and down the stairs 3 times. Like
Yeah.
there's some simple things that can really make a big difference in your life.
Amazing. Yeah. Don't beat yourself up.
Don't beat yourself up.
Keep the big picture in mind.
Yeah. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. You know, I mean, I would look, I'm like, oh gosh, they have such good muscles. They're so strong. Like don't do it. Just do your thing.
Yeah.
Eat healthy, move, you know.
I love
And
that.
that's it.
Everyone's journey is their own, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, you know, you're not perfect, but you're pretty close to it. And you've inspired a lot of us. And, you know, you've inspired me. And I've just loved working with you. And I can't wait
It's
to
been
continue
fun.
working with you.
Me too.
And last question, I have to ask you, if someone was on the fence about joining OxFit,
Okay.
what would you say to them, Debbie?
Well, I think, you know, for sure the exercise part of it. But to me, the best part has been it's just this really fun community. It's very, very supportive and fun. The people are great. It's so encouraging. So I really love that. I mean, it's well run, it's clean, it's organized, all of those things. But I think they do a great job at coming to wherever you are and working out and helping you get stronger, whether you haven't lifted a weight for 20 years or ever, or you're working out all the time. But I also just say it's really fun community, very, very supportive and great. And that's, I think when you're trying to do this, that's almost as important as the working out, because you got to drag yourself here every day and do it. You know? And so if it's not encouraging and fun and supportive, I don't think you'll do it as well or as often as it is. So that's been, I've loved it. It's a great place.
Might as well have some fun while we're throwing down,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we love you so much. I love you, Debbie. Thank you so much.
I love you too. It's been
for
really
sharing
fun.
your story. And let's go get that heart rate up and lift some weight.
We're doing it. All
right.
right.
See
Thank
you next time. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.